Obviously, it's been a while since I blessed y'all with a new installment in my Fast and Furious Reflection series, so to the point that the 25th anniversary of this franchise is actually coming up next year. It's at this point in the franchise that we had two major events take place. First being the departure of Justin Lin, who had been the stalwart of the series as far as directors are concerned, having directed parts 3 through 6. In his place, we got the director of the first Saw film, as well as the architect of the Conjuring franchise, and future director of Tropical Fruit Skittles, the movie, aka Aquaman, James Wan. Picking up that thread from the after-credits scene at the end of Fast and Furious 6, which revealed Han's death from Tokyo Drift to not have been just a simple accident, but actually a premeditated attack carried out by Owen Shaw's brother Deckard, played by Jason Statham, this film finds him on a rampage to get back at Dom and his family over what happened to his brother. He even manages to take Dwayne Johnson's Lucas Hobbs character out of commission for a majority of the film as he's trying to get information on how to track down Dom and the rest of his team. On top of all that, we still have Letty trying to regain her memory after the events of Fast and Furious 6, and the team gets a new member after they rescue a hacker by the name of Ramsey, played by Game of Thrones' Natalie Emmanuel. Of course, the second major event with regard to Fast and Furious 7 is a little harder to talk about because it does involve the tragic and untimely death of one of its main leads, Paul Walker. It was on November 30th of 2013 when Walker and one of his colleagues, Roger Rodas, were leaving a charity event carried out by his own foundation, Reach Out Worldwide. They were driving in a vehicle that subsequently lost control, and when they made impact with a concrete post, they were trapped inside the vehicle as it was engulfed in flames, killing both of them. Getting over the tragic irony of Paul Walker dying in a car crash after having been one of the major leads in one of the biggest franchises in the world that revolved around street racing. It's a shame to see someone who was definitely starting to branch out as an actor and even in roles outside of the Fast and Furious franchise like The Hours and Running Scared. People saw the kind of performer that he was, and also it's incredibly sad when you see that when he was off screen, he was putting so much time and effort into this charitable organization that was working with first responders to support them with disaster relief, and the foundation is still active today, and they have deployments in areas like Texas and Louisiana after the recent floods that have been happening, as well as providing ongoing support and relief in light of the California wildfires since last year. So if you want to learn more about the Reach Out Worldwide Foundation, I'll make sure to leave a link in the description below. As you can imagine, this left Universal and the filmmakers with a very difficult decision as far as what to do to address the absence of Paul Walker, as he had only filmed a little over half of the scenes that he was required to be in. Family ended up being part of the solution, as Paul Walker's own brothers Caleb and Cody actually served as stand-ins, combined with visual effects to digitally apply Paul Walker's face to their bodies, courtesy of Weta Digital. And for what it's worth, this worked out incredibly well. I remember watching Fast and Furious 7 in the theaters, and I did not think about how much they actually had to use the doubles and the digital face application to pull off some of the scenes that you see in the film. You can kind of notice it now, but even now watching it, I'm surprised at how well it holds up. it's just a testament to James Wan as a director. His flair for action is definitely on display here. We have a lot of great set pieces. We have a lot of good fight scenes. Is it still absolutely ridiculous when you think about the beginnings of this franchise? Yes. The scene where Deckard and Dom are fighting each other on the top of a parking lot, and you just have this operatic, dramatic music playing in the background as if it's Clash of the Titans. It's hilarious, but at this point, you're 7 movies in. If you're not on board by now, then that's on you. That's a you problem. Obviously, the inclusion of Ramsey as a character is great because you have this whole back and forth between Roman and Tej to see who's she's going to be more interested in, and that provides a lot of comedy to the film. You also have the ridiculous scene in Dubai where Dom is just driving a supercar through 3 different skyscrapers. It's hilarious. It makes no type of sense. We also have another female MMA fighter here in the form of Ronda Rousey. Acting's not that great, but at least she's not nearly as bad of a person in real life as Gina Carano turned out to be. So, I see that as an absolute win. Of course, we also have the addition of Mr. Nobody, who may be part of the CIA or some other secret organization, and it's just kind of great to see a character be played by someone as high profile in the Fast and Furious series as Kurt Russell. And just to think how different that role could have gone if it had been played by someone like Denzel Washington. Yes, they actually wanted to start bringing a little more prestige to the Fast and Furious films, and who better to do that than Mr. Denzel Washington himself? And I don't know, I think it could have worked, it would have been interesting, but you just think about the wide net that the studio had cast as far as actors that they wanted for this role, because you had names thrown out there like Halle Berry, Jim Carrey, even Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr., which I think would have been a little too on the nose, but at the same time something that I think would have totally worked. Of course, if there's anything I'm going to knock in this film, it is unfortunately Djimon Hounsou. This man plays the most nothing villain in the entire franchise, and he is someone who is trying to get Ramsey to give him something called the God's Eye, which is just a high-tech surveillance device that can work around the world. You're basically incapable of hiding if someone is looking for you with the God's Eye. That's the whole hook of this thing. And I swear to God, talking about its presence in all of the subsequent films in this franchise is going to boil my piss. I can tell you that right now. No pun intended, but the franchise is still kind of firing on all cylinders at this point. It's hitting those beats that you want from the Fast and Furious, and you have also this great moment at the end where it's the whole team together. Brian and Mia are with their son, and she's pregnant with another baby. So there's very much this acknowledgement of the fact that Brian needs to move on as a character. He can't be a part of these ridiculous adventures anymore. And of course, it is a very emotional send-off for the departed Paul Walker. And again, absolutely just shocking to hear about that when that news broke. And you have the great song See You Again with Wiz Khalifa, and you have that moment where Dom is driving down one road and Brian is driving down another. And again, you would think that this is probably the time, more than before, this now is the time for you to wrap things up with this franchise, because where else could you go from here? Seriously. But, as it were, fate had other plans. Hey guys, thanks for watching as always. If you've got your own thoughts or opinions on Fast and Furious 7 that you'd like to share, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends and family, and if you'd like to subscribe to more at random videos, you can click the subscribe button right over here.